My friend, I want you to listen closely, not just with your ears, but with your spirit. There is a sacred rhythm to life, an invisible current that moves all things into their rightful place. You do not have to push the river to make it flow. You do not have to force the seed to grow, and you do not have to chase what is already yours in consciousness. It works when you stop forcing it. You see, the moment you try to force the dream, you proclaim with your energy that it is not yet yours. You declare lack, you affirm separation, you live in the tension of desire without fulfillment. And in that very moment, you lose touch with the truth, that what you seek is seeking you, not through striving, but through surrender. All things begin in the unseen. Every event, every relationship, every blessing is first conceived in the invisible realm of thought and imagination. That is the womb of creation. The outer world is merely the echo of your inner assumption. And just as a woman who carries a child does not force its growth with her hands, but trusts the natural unfolding within her, so too must you learn to rest in your assumption and allow it to become flesh in its own divine time. You must learn to let go, not of the vision, but of the struggle, to cease the internal warfare, to silence the anxious voice that says, I must make this happen. No, beloved, you must know it is already done. The work is not in the forcing, but in the knowing. The labor is not in effort, but in faith. When you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you set the law of consciousness in motion. You set the unseen machinery of heaven to work on your behalf. You move mountains, not with your hands, but with your awareness. For what you accept is true within. The world cannot help but mirror without. But here is the mystery. It comes only when you stop reaching for it with restless fingers. When you release the tension, when you fall into the stillness, when you simply know that is when the manifestation arrives. Have you not noticed? When you were desperate for the call, it never came. When you were checking the clock, refreshing the page, pleading with the sky, nothing happened. But the moment you let go, the moment you stopped caring, the moment you released it into the silence, suddenly the answer appeared. The message came. The opportunity unfolded. Why? Because your inner state shifted from resistance to allowance. You were not waiting for the world to change. You were waiting for you to come into alignment with the truth of your being. You are not a beggar in the kingdom. You are not a stranger to the blessing. You are the child of the eternal, the dreamer of dreams, the one in whom all power dwells. And yet the moment you try to force what is already yours, you forget who you are. The key is not in more trying, but in deeper trusting. Not in more effort, but in greater awareness. You do not need to manipulate life. You need only to become the version of yourself who already has what you desire. And how do you do that? By assuming the feeling, by walking in the end, by letting your inner world speak the language of completion. Stop trying to fix it. Stop chasing it. Stop bargaining with the unseen. You are not here to hustle the universe. You are here to remember that all things are already finished within. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to become the one for whom it naturally happens. You say, but if I stop trying, won't I lose the dream? No. If you stop trying and start knowing, you will possess the dream. The only thing you'll lose is the struggle. Let it go. Let go of the need to control every detail. Let go of the fear that says it won't happen. Let go of the belief that you must work harder. Pray longer, wait louder. That is not faith. That is fear dressed up as action. And fear never brings forth life. Only love does. Only faith. Only peace. Be still and know. That is your power. Be still and imagine. That is your magic. Be still and embody the truth that what you have seen in the inner world is already echoing its way into form. It is done. It is done. So let it unfold. Let it come to you in the way it must. Trust the invisible intelligence that shapes galaxies and breathes through your lungs. You do not need to push what is already flowing toward you. Just receive. Stop asking when. Stop worrying how. Stop forcing the timing. Live from the state of the wish fulfilled. And let the outer world catch up to your inner knowing. It works not when you strive, but when you surrender. It works not when you beg, but when you believe. It works not when you chase, but when you become. Remember this, it is already yours, and it will show itself to you the moment you stop trying to force it. Let go, rest, know, it works when you stop forcing it. You see, there is a sacred order to the unfolding of your life, and it does not respond to panic. It does not yield to pressure. It responds only to the inner conviction that what you have imagined is already a reality in the unseen realm. The great paradox of manifestation is this: the moment you need it too much, you push it away. But the moment you know it's already yours, without desperation, it begins to move towards you in ways you cannot orchestrate or predict. The spiritual law is simple but unwavering. Whatever you assume to be true will outpicture itself in the world around you. An assumption is not a frantic pleading. It is not begging for a miracle. It is not affirming with clenched teeth. Assumption is quiet, calm, sure. It walks with dignity. It speaks with finality. It rests in stillness. The one who assumes does not ask if it will come. They live as though it already has. When you stop forcing it, you step into the flow of divine timing. You stop acting as though you are separate from your good. You no longer feel like the outsider to your own vision. Instead, you enter the scene internally. You walk into the room in consciousness. You touch the thing with your spirit before your hand ever reaches for it. You feel the fulfillment before the form. And that inner alignment calls the outer world into order. You must learn to be at peace with the gap, the space between your inner vision and the outer manifestation. This is where most people break. They say nothing is happening, and so they try harder, push more, panic louder. And in doing so, they reaffirm the very thing they're trying to overcome. They forget that the gap is not a problem. It is the preparation. The roots grow deep before the tree appears above ground. The seed cracks open in silence long before the first green shoots break the surface. So let the gap be sacred. Let it be holy ground. Do not fill it with worry. Do not fill it with doubt. Fill it with certainty. Fill it with thanksgiving. Fill it with imagination. Because the gap is not empty space. It is pregnant with becoming. What you do in the unseen determines what you receive in the seen. And here is the truth. The one who trusts does not rush. The one who knows does not panic. The one who has seen it within walks the earth differently. They are not chasing signs. They are the sign. They are not looking for proof. They are living in the proof. They do not speak of the thing as someday, they speak of it as now. This is not arrogance. It is spiritual authority. It is the quiet power of someone who understands that everything comes when you align, not when you strain. Stop talking about how long it's taking. Stop rehearsing delays. Stop narrating the obstacles. The more you speak of what has not yet come, the more you invest in lack. But when you speak from the end, when you talk like one who already has it, lives it, knows it, then the world begins to reflect that inner posture. The question is not, will it come? The question is, can you remain faithful to the feeling? Can you persist in the assumption even when nothing seems to confirm it? Can you keep your inner world steady while the outer world appears unchanged? Because, beloved, that is the test. The dream does not respond to your effort. It responds to your embodiment. When you live from the end, when you walk as the version of yourself who already has what they desire, you emit a new signal into the field of consciousness. You stop begging. You stop bargaining. You stop clinging. And in that relaxed knowing, you allow the universe to deliver without resistance. Do not confuse stillness with passivity. Do not mistake surrender for weakness. To be still inwardly while the winds of delay blow around you is a rare strength. To stand in peace while the evidence seems to say otherwise is a sacred rebellion. It is to say, I know something deeper than what I see. I walk by inner vision, not outer appearances. I move by truth, not by timeline. What would happen if, just for today, you stopped trying to figure it out? What if you stopped calculating how, when, and through whom your desire would arrive? What if you stopped needing constant science, constant validation, constant updates from the world around you? And instead, what if you went quiet, deeply quiet, and simply felt it as done? Not as hope, not as possibility, as done. Done in your imagination, done in your heart, done in your spirit. And what if, from that place, you let life take care of the rest? That is the secret. Not in the pressure, not in the performance, not in the constant movement, but in the deep, steady rest in your soul that says it is already mine. Because the moment you stop forcing it, you allow the natural order of the unseen to bring it to you in ways your intellect could never engineer. Force is born of fear. You try to control what you do not trust. You cling when you do not believe in divine timing. You panic when you forget that the work is already finished in the unseen. But when you remember who you are, the operant power, the living imagination, the vessel of divine creation, you stop forcing, because you no longer need to push what already belongs to you by right of consciousness. You begin to act like the one who has it. And not with arrogance, but with peace. You rise in the morning with calm. You walk through your day with assurance. You bless your steps, your breath, your thoughts. You stop watching the clock. You stop keeping score. You stop questioning the path. And here's the miracle. Life begins to rearrange itself. People show up. Doors open. Delays dissolve. Not because you forced it, but because you became a match for the thing you desire. When you were striving, you were affirming distance. But when you rested in the end, you became one with it. And once you become one with it in imagination, the outer world is obligated to conform. This is not wishful thinking. This is law. As within, so without. Not as a nice idea, but as an unbreakable principle of consciousness. You always manifest who you are being, not what you are wanting. That's why the transformation must take place within. You become it. You live it. You breathe it. And then, without effort, it appears. The world is not responding to your hard work. It is responding to your inner state. That's why some strive for years and see nothing, while others relax into belief and see it come swiftly. The difference is not the worthiness of the dream. It is the atmosphere of the mind in which the dream is planted. So change the atmosphere. Make it fertile with ease. Make it rich with rest. Make it soft with trust. Water it not with tears of desperation, but with joy, with gratitude, with quiet confidence. Know that what is yours is not running from you. Know that the vision you carry is not fantasy. It is memory of what already exists in the unseen realm. And when you stop trying to drag it into being, it will walk to you on its own. When you stop knocking on every door in fear, the right one will swing open by unseen hands. When you stop shouting into the void, the answer will arrive in a whisper. This is the way of spirit. This is the way of faith. Everything you desire is already alive within you. Stop treating it like a stranger. Embrace it in imagination. Accept it in consciousness. Welcome it in feeling. And then walk this world as one who already has it. That is the posture of power. That is the stillness that speaks louder than action. That is the energy that opens doors no man can shut. You are not here to chase. You are here to create. Not to plead, but to become. And it all begins the moment you stop forcing it. It's a strange thing, isn't it? The way life bends so subtly, almost imperceptibly, when you shift your inner stance. You might think nothing's happening, but in the stillness of your surrender, in the quietness of your new assumption, the entire structure of reality begins to respond. There are no fireworks at first, no dramatic music plays, but everything moves, not because you're pushing it with sheer will, but because you've stepped into harmony with it. You've stopped trying to beat down the door, and suddenly the door begins to unlock itself. Most people don't recognize this shift because they're still addicted to effort. To them, success and struggle are twins. They think if they're not sweating, striving, fixing, forcing, then they're not doing it right. But the truth is, spiritual power doesn't work that way. Real power is never loud. Real transformation is never frantic. It doesn't need to announce itself with noise. It doesn't force its way through walls. It enters like breath, like silence, like light creeping into a dark room without asking for permission. It just arrives because it belongs. When you try to force your life to bend to your will, you're no longer operating from creation. You're reacting from fear. And fear is always short-sighted. It doesn't see the whole picture. It doesn't recognize the divine timing that is shaping things with far more intelligence than your panic ever could. Fear says, do something now. But faith says, it's already done. And in that difference lies your freedom. The moment you stop forcing, you enter into the flow of wisdom. Suddenly you can hear the subtle impulses from within. You begin to notice things you were too frantic to see before. You recognize that the closed doors weren't punishments, but protections. That the delays weren't denials, they were invitations to align more deeply with your true desire. The kind of desire that doesn't just satisfy the surface but fulfills the soul. There is a natural unfolding to everything, and you are not the author of that rhythm. You are its participant, its vessel, its mirror. The rose does not bloom because you scream at it to open. It blooms because it is already that within. The fruit ripens in its season, and when you live in that same rhythm, when your consciousness begins to trust the unseen cycles, you'll discover that things come to you not by force but by resonance. You do not chase what you already are, and if you will dare to embody the feeling of already having it, fully, completely, without apology, you'll see how quickly the outer begins to conform to the inner. You'll see how your world becomes more cooperative, not because you've manipulated it, but because you've released it. The act of letting go is not passive. It's powerful. It says to the universe, I trust you to do what I cannot. It says to your own soul, I know it's done, even when I don't see it. When you stop forcing, you finally make room for the answer to arrive. You open the door you've been standing in front of, blocking with your impatience. You cease the mental chatter long enough to hear the whisper that was always trying to reach you. You become a vessel, not a machine, a receiver, not a resistor. That is what allowing really is. Not sitting back in laziness, but rising in awareness, becoming so clear, so deeply rooted in the end result within yourself, that you don't need the outside world to validate it. You've seen it in the spirit. You've felt it in the silence. You've lived it in imagination. And that is enough. You are enough. The vision is already done. The manifestation is on its way, not because you forced it, but because you remembered who you are. You don't have to coerce the universe. It does not need convincing. It simply needs direction. And your direction is given not through effort, but through feeling. Every time you dwell in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are giving the command. And it is answered not through chaos, but through quiet realignment. The right people are drawn to you. The right moments find you. The right paths illuminate themselves. But they come not when you are tense and striving. They come when you are soft and certain. The moment you stop asking, where is it? You start feeling, of course it's here. And in that shift, the energy around you changes. You are no longer a magnet for delay, but a living embodiment of fulfillment. The energy of desperation pushes things away, but the energy of wholeness, of sufficiency, of divine ease, that draws all things unto itself without trying. You must learn to become empty of resistance, so that life may fill you with abundance. Your efforts were never what made it happen. It was always your state of being. You cannot force grace. You cannot demand divine right order. You can only align with it. And the moment you stop forcing is the moment you step into that alignment. Let yourself breathe again. Let yourself enjoy the vision without needing to possess it, this very moment. Let yourself dance in the dream without needing to wake up and measure its distance. Because every time you indulge the question of when, you move away from the reality of now. That when you dwell in now as though the dream were real, you collapse time. You dissolve the barrier. You call it forth with your knowing. Stop acting like a stranger to your own desire. Stop treating it like it lives in some far-off land, disconnected from who you are. Your dream is not out there. It is in here, waiting for you to claim it with conviction and peace. You don't have to drag it across the threshold. You have to become the threshold. You have to become the place where heaven and earth meet, where the unseen takes form, where spirit becomes visible. And how do you do that? By letting go, by releasing the need to micromanage, by refusing to panic in the silence, by trusting that what you have imagined has already been received by the deeper intelligence within you, and it is now unfolding with perfect accuracy and precision. You don't see the roots growing beneath the soil, but they are. You don't hear the stars shifting in the sky to align your path, but they are. You don't feel the entire field of consciousness bending to your assumption, but it is. And all of this happens when you are no longer standing in the way with clenched fists and anxious thoughts. When you release the need to force, you return to the place where miracles are natural. And isn't that what your spirit truly wants? Not more pressure, not more effort, not more striving, but rest. Rest in the knowing, rest in the being, rest in the truth that what is for you cannot miss you, not when you are being it inwardly. It comes when you stop grasping. It flows when you stop chasing. It manifests when you stop demanding and begin declaring, it is done. And you say that not from arrogance, but from quiet inner union with the thing you've long desired. You don't need to explain this to anyone. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to convince another soul. What you see within is yours. What you feel as real is forming. What you embody in consciousness will crystallize in experience. This is not imagination as fantasy. This is imagination as creation. And it always works best when it's undisturbed by pressure. So let yourself return to ease. Let yourself laugh again. Let yourself release the burden of making it happen. Your job is not to fight against the unseen, but to align with it. Your role is not to demand every detail fall into place, but to feel the end is already here. And when that becomes your dwelling place, when that becomes your home, you'll notice that what once felt far off begins to draw near. What once felt heavy becomes light. What once felt delayed begins to unfold in divine rhythm. You do not need to force what is already flowing. You only need to get out of the way. Trust the process. Trust the rhythm. Trust the dream. And most of all, trust that it is already done. Let it be easy. Let it be simple. Let it be light. This is what you came to remember. Not that you had to prove your worth, not that you had to wrestle the vision into reality, but that all things are drawn to you according to your state. You do not manifest by the sweat of your brow. You manifest by the nature of your being. And when you stop forcing it, your being becomes magnetic, radiant, effortless. You begin to walk differently, not because the outer world has changed, but because you have, and the world, as it always does, must then mirror the change. It has no choice. It reflects back the tone of your inner self, the texture of your mood, the spirit of your assumptions. And when your assumption is calm, unwavering, and fully saturated with the end, you walk into experiences you once thought were far from you. There is no distance between you and the thing you desire, except the distance of your belief. And belief is not a statement of hope. Belief is embodiment. Belief is living from the end, not walking toward it. It is not whispering, maybe one day. It is declaring silently now, here, I am. And the moment that inner declaration becomes more real to you than any outer appearance, reality shifts. You no longer need to manipulate your circumstances because you realize that the outer world is only ever a shadow. The real work, the only work, is within. You return to the secret place of your imagination, not to escape, but to create. You enter the scene of your desire as though you already live there, and you begin to feel it. Think from it, move in it. And the world, like a mirror, slowly reshapes itself to match the mold you have impressed upon it. This is not a sprint. It is not a desperate race to the finish. It is a stillness, a sacred waiting that is not idle, but alive. You are not waiting in doubt. You are waiting in fulfillment. You are not holding your breath. You are breathing in the reality of the unseen. You are not postponing joy. You are practicing it now. And the more you return to that state, the more you dwell in the conviction that what you've seen in your inner eye is real, the less you feel the urge to force anything. You don't try to make people behave in a certain way. You don't try to manipulate conversations, push outcomes, or obsess over timing. You let go of the frantic energy, and in its place, peace rises. Peace in the quiet knowing that what is yours cannot bypass you. And if it seems to, if it appears delayed, you do not despair. You do not react. You simply return to your center and remind yourself nothing is lost. Nothing is denied. It is all unfolding precisely. Even what looks like a detour is not a detour. It is design. Even what seems like rejection is redirection. You don't need to force anything because you understand that you are always being guided, always being led, always being brought into alignment with what matches your inner state. That's why you no longer panic in the pause. You no longer fear the silence. You welcome the quiet because you know it is never empty. It is rich with formation. The invisible is at work. The soil of consciousness is alive with movement. The seed you planted in imagination is being watered by your faith. And every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you nourish it. Every time you let go of needing it now, you affirm that it already is. You do not need to convince anyone. You do not need to announce what's coming. You only need to dwell in the knowing. Because when it's real to you, the outer will follow. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. You stopped performing. You stopped pretending. You stopped posturing. And you simply rested in the truth of what already is. This is the shift that changes everything. Not more work, but more willingness. Not more pressure, but more presence. You start to enjoy the vision again, without fear of loss. You revisit the dream without the sting of waiting. You allow yourself to feel it. not to make it come, but because it has come, in spirit, in imagination, in your own inner sanctuary. And when you feed it there persistently, without effort, you bring it closer, not by demanding, but by becoming. That's why forcing it never works. It comes from a place of separation. It says it's out there and I must go get it. But creation doesn't work from the outside in. It works from within out. You are not chasing your desire. You are calling it forth by being the version of you who already lives in its fulfillment. You are walking through the world as the version of yourself who already knows the outcome, who already feels the satisfaction, who already moves in victory. And when you do this, everything around you begins to respond. Not because you manipulate it, but because you've entered into resonance with it. You have become the vibration of the thing you want. You are no longer hoping. You are embodying. You are no longer wishing. You are remembering who you are. Remembering that you are the one with the power to choose your state, to dwell in it, to return to it, and to let it move through you without resistance. This is how you become a living invitation for miracles. Not by chasing them, but by becoming their home. The moment you stop trying to drag your dream into the now is the moment the now becomes fertile for the dream to emerge. And it comes not with fanfare, but with grace. Not with effort, but with ease. Because you were never supposed to force it. You were only ever supposed to feel it, believe it, trust it, and rest in it. And in that rest, you are more powerful than in all your striving. In that rest, you are more magnetic than in all your pushing. In that rest, you are aligned, centered, anchored in truth. And that truth is this: everything is working for you, not against you. Nothing is ever truly missing. Delay is not denial. And the moment you stop forcing is the moment you begin receiving. So let the world do what it does. Let others rush if they must. Let appearances swirl and shift and scream for your attention. You do not move by appearances. You do not live by fear. You move by inner vision. You live by unseen conviction. And you know beyond all knowing that what is planted in the invisible must one day bloom into form. All you must do is stop pushing. Stop doubting, stop forcing, and start remembering, start feeling, start imagining again, not as escape, but as creation. Return to the feeling, return to the end, and stay there, not with tight fists, but with open hands, not with desperation, but with joy. You were never meant to force what is already yours. You were meant to receive it with grace, to embody it with peace, to express it with certainty. And the moment you stop striving, you become the clearest signal for the life you've always imagined. So let it come, not by pressure, but by presence. Let it unfold, not by force, but by faith. You no longer need to struggle, to strive to chase what is already yours. In spirit, simply rest in the knowing, walk in the feeling, trust the silence, and allow the unseen hand of life to move all things into place. It works not when you force it, but when you finally let go, surrender to the end, and become it within. What is yours is already finding its way to you. Let it come. But said, it is all planned for the start of May. Not a moment late, not a second early. What you call coincidence, he calls design. What you feel as delay, he declares as precision. This is not the time to question or doubt. This is the time to assume the end is already done. It's already set, it's already yours. The pattern of your life is written in the invisible. The change you seek, the breakthrough you wait for, the open door you cry out for, it was never up to the outer world. It was always within. The moment you accept that it's all prepared, all orchestrated, all timed, then your inner vision becomes your only authority. It's not about what the senses say. The senses lie. They report the past, not the truth. But the imagination, the inner eye, that sees the promise, that knows the word, that hears God say, May, start of May, not someday, but a divine schedule sealed in the invisible. So now assume it, walk in it, Feel it real. Carry yourself as the one who has already received. Do not beg. Do not wait. Do not plead for what is already finished. Instead, know. Know in stillness, know in silence, know in certainty, that what God has said no man can undo. If it is planned, it is finished. If it is spoken, it is settled. You are not waiting on God. You are awakening to what He has already completed. All things are prepared and the signal is set. The world around you may offer no sign, but the word within you has already gone ahead. That's where your eyes must remain, within. Feel the new beginning that's rising, the movement, the shift, the sudden manifestation. It starts when you see it in spirit. Not when, but not later, but live. Let them doubt, let them question, let them talk. But you stand still in the knowing. God said may. That's not a wish, that's a decree. The time is charged with purpose. The air is full of fulfillment. The old is crumbling, the new is breaking forth. Do not ask how, just enter the state of already done, the state of divine timing, the state where you and the promise are one. Because God's calendar does not miss. God's voice does not echo. He speaks, and it is. He declares, and it becomes. And now He has said, it's all planned for the start of May. So walk as one who remembers what has already been completed. Assume the scene, accept the word, and live as if it's unfolding, because it already has. It is already unfolding, quietly, invisibly, like a seed breaking through the soil long before anyone sees the sprout. But in the unseen realm it is done. You must understand, the moment you heard that whisper in your spirit, the start of May, that was not a suggestion, that was not a vague hope, that was a spiritual announcement, a signal that reality is bending to a divine instruction. And what you've been holding in consciousness, nurturing with your faith, feeding with your inner speech, is now pressing forward into visibility. You are not the old version of yourself. You are not the one who waits in fear, who checks the winds for signs, who looks to people for confirmation. No, when God speaks to your spirit, you don't consult appearances. You consult the word. And what has He said? That it's all planned. That everything has been moving toward this moment. That your delays were not denials but divine arrangements, that the people, the places, the doors, they are all being positioned to honor the script that heaven wrote for your life. You must walk now not as one who hopes but as one who remembers. That's the key. This is not a walk of guessing. This is the walk of memory, not of the past but of the divine future already created. The God in you knows, the Spirit in you knows. It has seen what your eyes have not yet seen. And it is calling you to act from that knowing, to think from the end, to dwell in the assumption that it is done. How do you prepare for something that is already yours? You don't prepare with panic or striving. You prepare with alignment, with quiet confidence, with inner calm that says, I know what's coming because I saw it when I closed my eyes. You are not reacting to the world anymore. You are commanding it by dwelling in the finished work. This is not a season to beg. It is a season to embody. Become the one who has received. When you embody the thing hoped for, it must obey, it must come. The world cannot resist the pull of a soul that has fully assumed its place in the divine story. When you sit in the energy of already done, you send a signal into the world of form, and the forms begin to shift. The people call, the doors swing, the money moves, the silence breaks. Not because you forced it. This is how God works. Not through the chaos of the outer, but through the stillness of the inner, through certainty, through divine order. That is why He spoke to you. Not to tease you, not to frustrate you, but to show you the next chapter that's already written. If he said it's all planned for the start of May, then nothing can stop it. Not the economy, not their opinions, not your past, not your doubt, not your detours. The plan is older than the problem. The promise is louder than the delay. Let the old fears rise if they must, but you do not have to entertain them. You are not bound to the cycle of doubt. You are governed by the rhythm of grace. Let the mind question. It will always try to calculate, to measure, to predict. But the mind is not the master here. The Spirit is. The Spirit knows what the intellect cannot. The Spirit knows what the news will never tell you. The Spirit knows that the instruction was real, that the timeline was divine, that the date is not arbitrary. May is not just a month, it is a signal, a vibration, a portal. You are stepping into a space where time obeys your inner state. That's what faith is. Not belief in a distant future, but identification with the already manifested. Feel what you've prayed for as if it's breathing through you right now. Hear the conversations, see the breakthrough, sense the freedom. The moment you do, the veil begins to thin and reality begins to comply. Everything is being rearranged to meet you at the level of your assumption. This is not magic, this is law. Spiritual law that bends time and matter around the focused energy of belief. That's why you must stay anchored. The storm may try to shake you, but your knowing must stay rooted. There will be moments when the old voice creeps back in, the one that says, "What if it doesn't happen? What if nothing changes?" But you must answer back with your own divine memory, "It already has. I'm just catching up to it." You must learn to feel the tone of God's voice. When He speaks in your spirit, it is not suggestion. It is structure, a blueprint, a reality already established in the invisible. When He whispered the start of May, He was not speaking to your calendar. He was speaking to your consciousness. He was saying, hold the line. Stay in the vision. Don't waver, no matter how still it looks. The silence before manifestation is sacred. It's the echo of alignment. It's the tension of labor before the birth. You must not misread it as stagnation. You must not label it as failure. It is the in-between, the place where your old life is shedding and your new one is stretching into form. Be gentle with yourself in this place. Do not try to force it. You are not here to perform. You are here to remember, to receive, to become. Everything is already accounted for. Every detail, every resource, every person who will say yes, every opportunity that will appear out of nowhere. It's already on its way, not because you earned it, but because you aligned with it. Grace does not require effort, it requires permission. Give yourself permission to receive. Give yourself permission to live in the fullness of what was promised. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to become the one who knows it has. That means speaking from it, walking in it, thinking as it, breathing as it. Let your inner talk reflect the truth you've seen. Let your imagination be saturated in the scene already fulfilled. See it every morning before your eyes open. Rehearse it in the silence of the night. Because the more real it becomes within, the faster it materializes without. You are not behind, you are not late, you are in rhythm, you are in sync with the divine unfolding. Time is not your enemy, delay is not your punishment. Everything is unfolding in perfect harmony with the voice you heard. That voice did not lie. That whisper was real. And your only work now is to walk in that knowing, unshaken by the noise. The start of May is not just a date. It is a doorway, a release, a divine moment where what was hidden begins to show, what was promised begins to rise. You may not understand the timing, but you are not asked to understand. You are asked to trust. to surrender to the timing that knows more than your logic ever could. Even now, as you hear these words, something in you is awakening. Not because these words are new, but because your spirit already knew. This is not information, this is confirmation. Something is being quickened in you, a deeper trust, a stronger faith, a holy boldness that refuses to bow to appearances. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for proof. You are standing in what you have seen. And when you stand in what you've seen, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match. That is the secret. The outer must follow the inner. The shadow must follow the light. The result must follow the assumption. It cannot be otherwise. This is the way of spirit. This is the way of manifestation. This is the way of God. He did not give you a vague hope. He gave you a date, a window, a spiritual moment encoded with divine orchestration. Your part is to agree with it, to stay in it, to become it. And that, beloved, is more powerful than anything that could ever happen outside you. Because when the word lives in you, really lives in you, it cannot return void. It must accomplish what it was sent to do. So carry it with reverence, carry it with power, carry it with joy. Not because you are trying to make something happen, but because it already has. May is not coming, May is here. And with it, so is everything God whispered, everything you've seen in the Spirit, everything you felt in the quiet moments, everything you dared to believe, even when it looked impossible. Now is the moment to walk as the one who has received. Let your words match your promise. Let your thoughts mirror the vision. Let your emotions celebrate the outcome. Because the plan is not in process. It is in fulfillment. The signal was sent. The door is opening. And the moment has arrived. Do not ask if it's working. Know that it is. Do not scan the horizon for evidence. Feel the evidence in your being. The world you see outside is always lagging behind the world you accept within. That is the divine delay, the sacred gap between assumption and manifestation. But it is not a punishment, it is a mirror being polished. The moment you become convinced of your promise within, the mirror reflects it without. This is why you must keep your inner world sacred, guarded, unshaken. You are the one carrying the vision, not the world, not your friends, not even the people closest to you. You heard the voice, you felt the shift, you caught the signal that something has been divinely arranged, and because you received that word, you must now live as the embodiment of it. Even if no one else sees it, even if the noise around you grows louder, even if the days leading up to the start of May seem ordinary, uneventful, still, do not be deceived. God is always silent in the most powerful moments of creation. He does not need to explain. He does not need to repeat himself. He speaks once, and eternity responds. Hold that word like sacred fire. Tend to it like a flame that cannot go out. It is not your job to light the whole forest. You only need to keep your flame burning. That flame is the evidence of what's coming. The promise already lives in you. The blessing is not something you are hoping for. It is something you are revealing. And every moment you dwell in the reality of already done, you become more magnetic to the outcome that is already yours. There is a great stillness that surrounds divine timing, not the stillness of nothingness, but the stillness of certainty, like the moment before the dawn, where the whole earth holds its breath, knowing the sun must rise. You are in that moment, the moment before the sun breaks through, the moment where the world may seem asleep, but heaven is fully awake and in motion. You have stepped into a prepared place, the divine setup, and everything you need is already positioned, already aligned, already waiting for your awareness to meet it. So let your awareness be clean. Let it be focused. Let it be sharp as light. Do not entertain the shadows of fear, even if they dance before you. They hold no power unless you feed them. Instead, feed the vision. Nourish the reality that has already been spoken over you. Let your imagination be full of it. Let your inner conversations reflect the truth that it is done. Because your imagination is not fantasy, it is the blueprint of creation. It is the first birthing place of reality. And if God placed it in your spirit, then it already exists. Not someday, not maybe, but now. Already alive in the invisible, already pulsing with the breath of fulfillment. You do not need to create it. You only need to receive it, accept it, identify with it. Become so one with the promise that separation is impossible. Walk in the room as the one who has already received. Speak from the position of fulfillment. Think only from the posture of already done. That is your only work now, to stay in the assumption until it becomes substance. The world will try to distract you with timelines, with appearances, with opinions. But you are not here to be a reactor. You are a creator. A spiritual being navigating a physical world, never forgetting that the physical always bends to the spiritual. The invisible always governs the visible. That is the hierarchy of creation. That is the truth you must stand on. And the truth is, it's already done, already planned, already timed, already spoken. The shift is not coming to you, you are coming into alignment with it, like tuning into a frequency that was always broadcasting, but now your spirit is clear enough to receive the signal without interference. That is the clarity of May. That is the power of the divine word. It doesn't just promise, it positions. It doesn't just inspire, it transforms. When you assume the end, you collapse the distance between yourself and the blessing. Time falls, matter shifts, the path clears, the obstacle becomes the testimony. You look back and realize it all had to happen just the way it did, not to hurt you, but to guide you. Not to delay you, but to prepare you. Every no was a redirection to the higher yes. Every silence was a deeper call to listen within. And now, as you enter this moment with your full awareness, the seed becomes the harvest. The voice that said it's all planned for the start of May was not speaking to your mind. It was speaking to your identity. It was calling you to rise, to step into the version of yourself that already holds the miracle, already lives the testimony, already breathes the promise. So you must ask yourself now, not will it happen, but am I ready to receive what has already happened in the Spirit? That's the real question. Are you willing to live as if the prayer has already been answered? Are you willing to drop the old identity and wear the new one without apology? This is where faith becomes embodiment, where you don't just believe, you become. You dress the part, you speak the part, you think like one who no longer waits, because in the realm of God, waiting is just a misalignment with what already is. And now you are aligned. You've heard the instruction, you've received the word, and you're moving as one who remembers, not one who hopes. This is your time to walk as the fulfilled version of yourself, to dwell in the end so fully that the middle must obey, to embody the joy before the evidence, to wear the peace before the manifestation, because God's voice is final and His word is faithful. He is not a God of maybe. He is not a God of almost. He is a God of yes and amen. A God who speaks and seals, a God who plans and performs. So let your mind be still, let your heart be firm, let your energy match the vision. The start of May is not a hope, it is a divine appointment. You've been walking toward it all along, even when you didn't see it, even when the terrain was rough, even when the waiting hurt. Every step has brought you closer to what was always prepared. The delay was never a denial. It was God's way of shaping you to hold the blessing without breaking. And now you are ready, ready to receive without resistance, ready to live without fear, ready to become without apology. The inner you has already crossed over. The outer must now follow. and you don't need to chase anything. The blessing is not running, it's waiting. Waiting for you to step fully into the posture of fulfillment. Waiting for you to take your eyes off the clock and place them back on the vision. Waiting for you to rise with no doubt, no hesitation, no turning back. This is what God has planned. Not just a moment, but a movement. Not just an event, but a shift. A divine turning, where the unseen becomes seen. Where the delay turns to display. Where the old version of you fades and the true one emerges, fully clothed in light. You will not have to explain. The evidence will speak. You will not have to defend. The fruit will testify. So stay in the frequency of already done. Let no fear dilute your atmosphere. Let no voice distract you from what was spoken. When God said it's all planned, He meant it. Nothing is missing, nothing is broken. The plan includes the people, the path, the provision, the peace, and it is set to be revealed, not made, but revealed at the start of May. All you need to do is keep assuming, keep believing, keep being the one who already knows. Let that knowing be your power. Let that knowing be your protection. Let that knowing be your peace when things still look still. Because knowing is stronger than seeing. And when your knowing is rooted in the Word becomes flesh. The promise becomes presence. The vision becomes your new normal. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of holding the state until time catches up. And time is catching up now. The start of May is not waiting, it's here, it has arrived. And with it, so has everything God whispered, everything He confirmed in the quiet moments. Everything you dared to believe when it looked like nothing was changing. But it was always changing, within the realm where spirit shapes the world. So hold fast, stay still, stay aligned. Let your spirit lead, let your mind be quiet, let your heart remain soft, and let the reality unfold, just as it was always meant to. Because when God said it's all planned for the start of May, He wasn't offering a forecast, He was delivering a fact. And that fact is already moving, already blooming, already here. And now, as you stand on the threshold of the promise, remember this. You were never waiting on the blessing. The blessing was waiting on you, waiting on your full agreement, waiting on your identity to align, waiting on your spirit to rise and say, I am ready now. Not ready to strive, not ready to chase, but ready to receive. For what God has planned cannot be undone, delayed, or denied, not by time, not by people, not by circumstance. The instruction was clear, the timing was precise, the word was spoken, and you, yes you, were chosen to carry it, to believe it when it looked impossible, to hold it when everything told you to let go. You have passed through the silence, through the shaping, through the sacred preparation, and now, as May unfolds, so too does the manifestation of everything heaven whispered to your soul. Walk forward not as a seeker, but as one who has found. Live not from hope, but from fulfillment. Speak not from longing, but from gratitude. Because it's here, it's yours, it's done. May is not coming, it has come. And with it, the unveiling of everything ordained for you. Let the world see not just what God has done for you, but who you have become in Him. The living testimony of divine timing, perfect orchestration, and unwavering faith. The plan has met the moment, and the moment is now. This is the moment your spirit recognized before your mind could catch up. The moment your prayers, your visions, your quiet endurance all pointed to. You are not entering May as the same person who began the journey. You are walking in transformed, awakened, crowned with the evidence of what you held in faith. The struggle, the waiting, the pressing, none of it was wasted. Every invisible movement has led to this divine unfolding. You are no longer in the space of asking, you are in the space of becoming. You don't need more signs. You don't need more confirmation. The word is enough. The voice that whispered, "It's all planned," has never failed. And now creation bends to that voice. Time bows to that voice, and everything that once resisted must yield to the authority of the one who declared it finished from the beginning. So walk forward with clarity, with boldness, with peace. Don't shrink, don't second guess, don't reach back for what you've outgrown. You have crossed a threshold in spirit, and all of heaven has moved to honor it. Let your life speak now. Let your presence testify. Let your peace be the loudest proof of what you know within, that everything has arrived right on time. And when you open your eyes each morning this month, say not, "Will it be today?" but "It is today." This is the season where the unseen becomes seen. This is the moment where you watch it all unfold, just as he said it would. My friend, do you not know that your imagination is the womb of all creation? That what you dare to assume as true within yourself, though unseen and unfelt by the senses, must come to pass in the outer world. The universe is not some distant force moving independently of you. No, the universe is your very self pushed out. It mirrors faithfully the inner arrangement of your own consciousness. What you believe, what you feel, what you persist in inwardly assuming, this is what the universe must unfold for you. You have imagined much. You have dreamed, longed, hoped, and perhaps waited. But let me tell you now, the waiting is over when the inner agreement is made. When you consent wholly and deeply to the reality of your desire, the universe rushes forward to honor it. Everything you have ever dared to see in the stillness of your inner sanctuary, everything you have whispered to yourself in the dark, everything you've longed for in silence, it is all gathering now, drawn by the magnetism of your assumption. The law is simple. As within, so without. And the moment you embrace the state of already having, already being, already living the life you have imagined, a shift occurs not out there but in you. And because it occurs in you, it must be reflected out there. The outer is a slave to the inner. The world bends itself to your self-concept. And if your self-concept has risen to match your highest ideal, then the world must bring to you all that corresponds to it. Do not think you must strive and struggle in the world of facts. Do not believe that your good lies at the mercy of people, circumstances, or time. The only thing that matters is this. What are you entertaining in the deep of your soul? What are you saying when no one else is around to hear? What assumptions are you marrying in the secrecy of your imagination? For these assumptions, these inner conversations, these moods, they are seeds, and the universe, being nothing but the outpictured reflection of the subconscious, takes these seeds and brings them to harvest. It does not matter what your senses tell you. They are simply echoing past assumptions. Look not at the shadows, look at the light behind them. Hold fast to the unseen and dare to believe that what you desire is already yours. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. The now is eternal, and if you can feel the reality of your wish fulfilled in the now, the universe has no choice but to deliver. You are not asking, you are not begging, you are not even hoping, you are assuming, and in that assumption, you are claiming dominion over your world. The power does not lie in the stars. It lies in your awareness of being. Whatever you declare yourself to be, silently, persistently, joyfully, the world must shape itself around that declaration. You may think things are taking long, but nothing is ever late. Delay is not denial. All that is happening now, even the seeming slowness, is simply the outworking of your inner alignment. The moment you fully inhabit the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the invisible bridge of incidents begins to form. People you've never met, circumstances you could not have orchestrated. These begin to move in divine sequence. The universe is not trying to figure out how to do it. It already knows. It already has. It waits only for you to consent inwardly. And when you do, it moves swiftly, sometimes subtly, sometimes with great force. But always it moves. For imagination is the only reality, and what you sustain within it must project into form. Your job is not to know how. Your job is only to know that it is so. Feel the joy now. Feel the relief now. Dwell in the end now. And the means will unfold naturally, automatically, as if life itself conspired to bless you. And indeed it does. You were never meant to chase. You were always meant to assume. The universe responds not to effort, but to identity. Be it in your mind, and the world will match it. The moment you say I am, and you feel that statement as truth, all of creation rushes to make it flesh. Everything you've ever imagined is now being drawn to you, not because it was once far away, but because you have awakened to its presence within you. The outer world is not a reality you must convince. It is the echo of what you already believe. So stand still, stand boldly, and know this. The universe is about to deliver not what you merely want, but what you are willing to become. Assume the state. Live in the end. Walk in the feeling of already having, and do not waver, not even when the senses scream otherwise. For the senses do not lead. Imagination leads, and everything follows. Let the old world fall away. Let appearances pass, for something new is breaking forth. Even now, even as you hear these words, it is forming in the invisible. It is molding to your inner speech, your inner knowing, your inner claim. The universe is not delaying. It is delivering, not in theory, not in abstraction, but in the only way it ever has, through your own wonderful human imagination. And so I tell you again, do not look with your natural eyes and say, nothing is happening. Everything is happening. In the silence, beneath the surface, beyond the range of sight, it is moving, it is arranging. The whole universe is conspiring to reflect back to you the very image you have impressed upon it. Every thought sustained, every feeling embraced, every inner conversation rehearsed with faith and conviction. These are the blueprints of your reality. And reality, being obedient, being impartial, must shape itself in the likeness of that which you consistently entertain within. Do you not see how powerful you are? The world does not change first, and then you feel different. No, it is you who must feel different first, and then the world reflects it. The mirror does not smile until you smile. The field does not grow until you plant. The universe does not deliver until you assume. An assumption is not pretending. It is knowing. It is accepting a truth higher than the senses can yet confirm. It is living, moving, breathing from the place where the thing you desire is already yours. You are not waiting on the world. You are not waiting on people, or time, or seasons. You are only waiting on the moment when your inner world no longer contradicts your desire. And when you reach that moment, when your internal state aligns with your imagined ideal, you have crossed the threshold. The bridge is formed. The way is open, and all that is required now is persistence in that state. Do not come down from the mountaintop. Do not descend back into doubt. Guard the sacred image you have conceived. Guard it as a precious secret, as a holy thing known only to you and to the unseen forces that shape this world. Do not explain. Do not justify. Do not seek permission. The vision is yours, and so is the power to bring it forth. Let others speak of facts, probabilities, and statistics. Let them argue for why things cannot be. That is their world. Yours is governed by imagination, by assumption, by the conviction that what you see inwardly will soon clothe itself in form. Yours is the power to call things that are not seen as though they were, and to know that in calling them, they begin to move toward visibility. What you persist in assuming becomes hard reality. It crystallizes, it gathers density. The shadows yield to the light of belief. That which was once unseen stands before you in tangible form. You must not waver. You must not ask, where is it? You must say, it is done, and live from that done place, that complete place, that finished end. Every moment you spend affirming your desire as already fulfilled adds weight to your assumption. Every time you enter the scene in your mind and feel it real, you are stepping into the vibrational match of your outcome. Do not say, I hope it will happen. Say, it is happening now, and feel it, not vaguely but vividly. See it, hear it, touch it with your mind. Taste the joy, the relief, the satisfaction, and then rest. Rest in that knowing. Rest in the confidence that the universe has heard you, not because you begged, but because you believed. You do not need to force anything. There is no need for strain. The seed never strains to become the tree. It surrenders. It yields. It trusts the invisible intelligence that governs growth. And so must you. Trust that the assumption of your fulfilled desire is the seed, and the outpicturing of it in your world is the inevitable harvest. You do not need to tell others. You do not need their agreement. This is your secret place. What you do in your imagination is between you and the infinite, knowing no resistance, knowing no delay, moves instantly to prepare the way. Every desire you hold is holy. It is not an accident. It is a signal, a call from your deeper self, telling you what you are ready to embody. You do not wish for what you cannot have. You only wish for what you are meant to become. The desire itself is the proof of its possibility. The feeling of wanting is the evidence that the version of you who already has it exists and is calling you upward. When you yield to that desire, not by pleading but by claiming, you become one with it. And that which you are one with must find expression. The Lord does not lie, it does not fail, it does not forget. It brings forth according to kind. So, if you are dwelling in the consciousness of wealth, then wealth must appear. If you are resting in the awareness of love, then love must meet you. If you are walking in the assumption of health, then health must be made manifest. The world may say, be realistic, but what they mean is, be limited. The true real is the unseen. The true power lies in imagination. Everything that now surrounds you began as a thought. Every structure, every opportunity, every relationship, every detail, once invisible, now made visible. And so it shall continue. The world you walk into tomorrow is already being formed by the assumptions you make today. And what are you assuming? What are you claiming in silence? Are you saying I am lacking or I am abundant? Are you saying I am alone or I am loved? Are you saying it's hard or it is unfolding perfectly? The words you whisper to yourself carry creative power. They are not idle. They are commands to the universe. And the universe, being faithful, being precise, must obey. So speak only what you want. Think only of what blesses you. Feel only what expands you. Let go of the need to figure out how. The moment you surrender the how, the way becomes clear. You are not the architect of the path. You are the one who walks it. Your job is not to assemble the pieces, but to hold the vision. Let the unseen forces do the rest. They know better than you the shortest, most harmonious path to your fulfillment. And yet you must be bold. You must be deliberate. You must be unshakable in your inner state. Do not entertain the lesser thoughts. Do not make a home in doubt. If fear rises, do not fight it. Rise above it. Replace it with truth. Speak the word against it. Say no. I know who I am. I am that which I seek. I walk as the one who already has it. When you do this long enough, consistently enough, the fear loses its grip. The old self crumbles. The new self emerges. And with it the new life. The world cannot help but reflect the change you make in consciousness. There is no outer without the inner. The visible must yield to the invisible. So imagine again, and imagine more boldly. Assume greater things. Take your attention off the old story and place it fully on the new one. Live in it. Dwell in it. Sleep in it. Let it become more familiar to you than your past, more real than your current facts. Let it saturate your being until the world has no choice but to mirror it. What you see on the outside is just the shadow. It is not the source is within you. And the moment you turn to that inner source and say, I am what I desire to be, everything begins to shift. The people, the places, the opportunities, they all respond to your state. They cannot help it. It is law. You do not need to hustle. You need only to remain faithful. Keep your mind stayed on the end. Keep your attention on what is lovely, pure, of good report. And if ever you find yourself slipping, if ever you notice doubt or fear or contradiction, do not condemn yourself. Simply return. Return to the image. Return to the knowing. Return to the state. The inner reality is always waiting to be resumed. It does not judge. It welcomes you back each time. And every time you return, you strengthen it, you deepen the groove. You become more identified with the version of you that already lives the life you desire. And soon you forget the struggle. You forget the waiting. You forget the past. For the new you has become so dominant, so alive, so natural, that the world bows to it. And in that moment, everything you have ever imagined begins to break forth, not as a miracle, but as the most natural outcome of your assumption. Not as a reward, but as a reflection. The universe never forgets. It never loses your order. It does not require reminders. The moment you fully accept it as done, the wheels begin to turn. Hold your desire in joy. Rest in the knowledge that it is not only possible, it is certain. For all things are possible to the one who believes, not the one who wishes, not the one who waits, but the one who assumes. This assumption, lived in and persisted in, becomes your dwelling place. And from that dwelling place, your world is made new. Not by force, not by effort, but by alignment, by identity, by the quiet certainty that what you are within must show forth without. So continue with boldness, continue with assurance, continue with joy, for you are not becoming the person who will receive the promise. You already are. You only need to know it and live from it. And as you go on in this inner knowing, you begin to see how everything that once seemed against you was merely a shadow of old thoughts, now dissolving. What once appeared as delay was only time given for you to come into full acceptance of the state you now occupy. The outer world is not punishing you, nor is it testing you. It is teaching you, showing you clearly, moment by moment, what you really believe, what you truly feel, what you've allowed to root in the garden of your consciousness. If you see contradiction, it is not failure, it is feedback. It is the echo of a previous vibration, a prior assumption now passing away. Do not fear it. Do not fight it. Do not affirm it. Instead, return again and again to the inner world you have chosen. Remain faithful to the unseen reality you now claim as yours. For in that faithfulness lies the power to transform not just your circumstances, but your very self. The you who imagined this desire is not the same. You who receives it, the old self must fall away. The limited self, the doubting self, the self that once feared it could not have what it longed for. This self dissolves in the light of your assumption. What remains is the radiant being, who is the fulfillment. The becoming is not something you chase. It is something you allow. You allow yourself to become aware of who you already are. There is no need to control the outer world. When the inner world is ordered, the outer world mirrors that order. When the inner world is lifted, the outer world lifts with it. There is no delay in spirit. There is only the appearance of time while you align. You are not waiting on the universe. The universe is responding to your inner stance. Stand therefore in the feeling that what you desire is already so, and it must come forth. Feel it deeply, not merely in thought, but in tone, in vibration, in feeling. Let it possess you. Let it become so natural to you that to deny it would feel like a lie. That is the secret, to feel it until it feels normal. The moment the desire feels natural, the moment it no longer feels like a distant dream but a present identity, the manifestation is inevitable. The bridge will unfold, events will conspire, things will appear, and you will look back and say, of course, how could it have been any other way? And yet you will know. You will know it came not by chance, not by effort, but by the quiet and consistent assumption of its reality. You will know that you created it, not by fighting, but by feeling, not by chasing, but by claiming. And that knowing will become your power. For if you created this, then you can create more. And you will. And you are. This is not a one-time event. This is not a single miracle. This is a way of life. A life in which you no longer respond to appearances as final, but look within and adjust the cause. A life in which you remember always that the world is a mirror, not of what you wish, but of what you are. So you shift yourself, not your circumstances. You shift your identity, not your situation. You say to yourself, this is who I am now, and the world bends to affirm it. There is no higher power than this. Not because it is loud or forceful, but because it is law, and law does not make exceptions. It operates with precision. If you live in the feeling of lack, even while speaking of abundance, it is lack that will appear. But the moment you feel abundant, truly and deeply, even while nothing yet changes, you have stepped into the new state, and the new state must express itself. You cannot outact your assumptions. You cannot outperform your self-concept. What you truly believe about yourself will always find its way into form. So believe higher, believe bigger, believe now. The universe is not holding anything back from you. It is not a reluctant giver, it is a perfect reflector. It simply waits for you to know, beyond any doubt, that what you have imagined is yours by right of consciousness. And this is the great secret. You do not receive what you want. You receive what you believe you are. The feeling is the prayer. The state is the magnet. The assumption is the cause. When you live in the consciousness of your desire fulfilled, everything necessary for its realization begins to move. The people, the conversations, the opportunities, the shifts, all of it comes into alignment. And yet none of it will surprise you, for you have already lived it inwardly. You have walked that scene in your imagination so many times that it is no longer fantasy. It is memory. You feel it as done. And because it feels done, the world must echo that feeling. The harvest cannot help but appear when the seed has taken root and the soil has been watered with persistence and belief. So I say again, do not ask, where is it? That question is rooted in lack. Ask instead, how fully can I feel it now? And let that feeling become your dwelling place. Let the joy of it wash over you. Let the gratitude of it fill your being, not because you see it yet, but because you know it is yours. And in that knowing, the veil thins. The unseen becomes seen. The bridge is crossed. Even now, as you hear these words, the universe is responding to the signal you are sending. It is not deaf. It is not indifferent. It is alive, conscious, and perfectly aligned with your inner state. So shift within, choose again, speak boldly, feel deeply, and then walk in faith, not blind faith, but the faith of one who understands how this works. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are not the victim of your environment. You are the one who declares the end from the beginning. You are the one who names the thing and watches it come to life. The old story no longer has power over you unless you choose to repeat it. You are not your past. You are not your circumstances. You are your assumption. And that assumption can change in an instant. Do not wait for signs. Be the sign. Let your peace be the evidence. Let your confidence be the proof. Let your inner certainty be the signal that the work is done. For once it is done within, nothing can stop it from appearing without. The time between assumption and manifestation is not delay. It is preparation. It is the world catching up to what you have already claimed. So do not grow weary in the waiting. Remain in the end. Rest in the knowing. Keep your eyes on the invisible, and the visible will reshape itself accordingly. All power is given to the one who knows their own imagination is God in action. All provision flows to the one who understands that their feelings are the creative force behind all things. All doors open to the one who refuses to lower their state no matter what appears, for that one has become immovable in their vision, and the world must conform. Even now, the pieces are coming together. Even now, unseen hands are arranging your good. Even now, answers are arriving. Even now, the very thing you imagined is drawing near. Do not look for signs. Become the one for whom the signs appear. Become the version of you that already has it, and you will see that the world cannot help but respond. For the universe does not delay. It delivers. Not in reaction to begging or pleading, but in perfect obedience to assumption. The life you dream of is not far away. It is here now waiting on your claim. Speak it, feel it, know it, and live as though it were already done, because in truth, it already is. Walk through your days, now with the quiet confidence of one who already possesses what they once longed for. Carry yourself as if the answer has arrived. Move through this world no longer from the place of seeking, but from the place of fulfillment. For your inner world is not theory, it is cause, and the outer world is not command, it is effect. If you master the cause, the effect must obey. That is the law, and the law never fails. Every step you take in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled plants you deeper into that reality. Do not be concerned with what others see or say. They see only your outer shell, but you know what you carry within, and that sacred thing within you, that image, that vision, that word, is not fantasy. It is a promise. It is the seed of your future already alive inside you. Feed it, protect it, nurture it with attention, with conviction, with repetition. You do not need to explain it to anyone. In fact, the more you keep it sacred within, the stronger it grows. The unseen needs no validation from the seen. Keep your vision quiet. Keep your assumption private. Let the roots go deep before the branches ever show. For in the silence, in the secret place of imagination, you shape your destiny, and no one needs to understand it but you. Let the outer world say what it will. Let it offer its opinions, its rules, its probabilities. You are not bound to their expectations. You are not limited by their logic. You are governed by inner law, by the divine principle of assumption. You are not responding to the world. You are directing it. You are not a thermometer that reflects the climate. You are the thermostat that sets it. When you claim, I am, and follow it with the fulfilled state, you release creative power. Not tomorrow, not later, now. In the moment of your assumption, the wheels begin to turn. The timeline shifts. The pattern begins to realign. What you affirm consistently in the stillness of your mind becomes flesh. Do not concern yourself with how long it takes. There is no delay, only divine timing, calibrated perfectly to your belief. And this is the mystery. The very moment you let go of needing it, the very moment you stop looking for signs and simply become the one who has it, you release resistance. You stop blocking the flow. You stop pinching off the blessing with doubt and anxiety. The universe was never withholding. It was waiting for your full agreement. Not verbal agreement, but emotional agreement. Not just the words I believe, but the feeling of belief. It is not enough to say it, you must be it. You must walk as the version of yourself that already lives the reality you've imagined. You must breathe like them, stand like them, speak like them, not to fool the world, but to align with the new identity that creates the new world. And as you persist in this being, your outer world slowly but surely bows to the change. You will find yourself in new places without effort. You will meet people who seem drawn to you by invisible strings. You will encounter opportunities you could never have orchestrated. But none of this will surprise you, because you knew the moment you claimed it. You knew the moment you entered the state. You knew when the old self fell away and the new self took hold. And this new self, this true self, does not waver. It does not ask, is it working? It knows. It rests. It abides. It continues in the end until the end becomes visible. And the outer world, which once seemed stubborn and unmoving, becomes fluid and obedient to your inner vision. There is no force greater than a person who no longer doubts. There is no wall that can stand against the one who has decided, this is who I am now. Not who I will be, but who I am. That shift from future tense to present reality is the very key. You do not hope for it. You claim it. You embody it. And in doing so, you activate the divine machinery that must deliver it. Do not look backward. The old story is over. The past has no claim on you. You are not bound to it unless you keep rehearsing it. Let it go. Every time you tell that old story, you re-enter that old state. But you are not that virgin anymore. You have risen. You have awakened. You are now the virgin who lives in fulfillment, in abundance, in wholeness, in joy. So speak only of what is lovely. Think only of what is beautiful. Feel only what uplifts. Let the tone of your inner world match the tone of your desired reality. For the tones must harmonize before the form appears. It is not the thing itself you are chasing. It is the feeling. Get the feeling right, and the thing must follow. And if ever you slip, and you will, do not judge yourself. Simply return. Gently, surely, return. That is your power, the ability to redirect attention. Where you place it is what you give life to. Starve the doubt. Feed the faith. Starve the fear. Feed the joy. Do not be casual with your attention. It is the wand of creation. You have already been delivered the answer in spirit. Now your only task is to keep walking as though it is already done. And with each step you draw it closer. With each breath you align more deeply. With each assumption you solidify the new reality. There is nothing more to do, only more to be, and you can feel it, can't you? Even now you can sense that something has already shifted. Even now the old has begun to crumble. Even now what you've imagined has started to press itself into form. The universe has taken your assumption as instruction. The world is rearranging itself. The scene is being set. The script is being rewritten. And your role is to hold the vision. Stay faithful. Stay calm. Stay bold. For the answer is not out there, it is within you. And once you assume it fully, the outside must obey. That is the covenant. That is the agreement. That is the law. And it never fails. Do not concern yourself with appearances. Appearances are but echoes, reflections of prior assumptions, taking their final bow. The world you see around you, is the product of yesterday's belief. It is not your enemy, it is your mirror. And once you understand this, you cease trying to fix the mirror. You adjust the face you are showing it. You adjust the self you are being. And as you do, something changes, first within, then without. It is subtle at first. A thought that used to bring you anxiety now brings you peace. A situation that once stirred fear now passes without reaction. And though it may look small, it is not small. For the shift that happens in consciousness is the most powerful shift of all. It sets in motion forces unseen and unavoidable. This is why you are never waiting on the universe. The universe is not running late. It is not confused about your request. It is not negotiating your worth. It has only one instruction to follow, your dominant state. It knows no denial, no hesitation, no opinion. It simply reflects, so if your state has changed, everything must change to accommodate it. You must no longer beg for what you already possess. You must no longer plead for what your inner man has already claimed. Instead, walk in the identity of the one who has received. Walk in the grace of the one who knows they are chosen. Speak not as one in lack, but as one in overflow. Think not from absence, but from completion. This is the highest act of faith, to accept as true that which the senses have yet to report. And here's the mystery. The moment you live from that truth, the senses must eventually conform. The five senses are faithful servants to the master within. They do not lead, they follow. But if you allow them to rule, you fall back into old cycles. You say, I don't see it, and so you feel it's not here. But if you dare instead to say, I am it, before there is evidence, then you create the evidence. Imagination is not a toy. It is the blueprint of reality. Feel it real and the form must come. Don't wait until you get the job to feel successful. Don't wait until you receive love to feel worthy. Don't wait until the bank account grows to feel secure. Feel it now, assume it now, become it now, for once you do, the universe must outpicture what you have inwardly constructed. It may come in ways you didn't expect. It may arrive through channels you never planned, but it will come. The moment you live from the end, the path opens beneath your feet. The road rises to meet you. The people show up. The phone call comes. The door opens, not because you chased it, but because you aligned with it. Do not confuse persistence with effort. Persistence is not struggle. It is faithfulness. It is remaining loyal to the unseen reality, even when everything around you tries to contradict it. It is holding your inner world steady, while the outer world reshuffles itself. And though the night may come, though the storm may rage, though the world may doubt, you remain. You remain the one who knows the truth. You remain the one who has already received. You remain the one who walks in the end. And because of that, the promise is sure. The outcome is guaranteed. The fulfillment is inevitable. There is nothing more sacred than your inner speech. Guard it, protect it, let it be only what you desire to see. For your inner conversation is a rehearsal for your outer performance. Speak to yourself in the tone of victory. Call yourself blessed. Tell yourself, this is who I am now. Not once, not twice, but daily, until the new state becomes your dwelling place. And when the world shows you something less, you do not accept it as final. You see it as residue, nothing more than fading shadows of a belief you no longer hold. You bless it, release it, and return to your chosen state, again and again, until the new becomes the only. You must come to the place where the dream feels more real than the delay, where the feeling of fulfillment outweighs the illusion of lack, where the truth you've claimed within becomes more vivid than any condition outside of you. And when that happens, when your inner world becomes more solid than your outer manifestation is but a formality, everything responds to you. Everything bows to your assumption. Not because you are forcing, but because you are allowing. Not because you are manipulating, but because you are being. The state of being is the most magnetic force in the universe. What you are being now creates what you will see next. So what are you being now? Are you being the one who waits or the one who receives? Are you being the one who questions or the one who knows? Are you being the one who tries or the one who is? Choose, and once you choose, persist. If the old state tries to creep in, it's only because it has been practiced, but you have the authority to change it. You have the power to rise. You can say, that was who I used to be, but this is who I am now. And when you say that not with mere words but with conviction, the old self falls away. And so you must live every moment as though it were already done. You must wake up and feel the gratitude of the answered prayer. You must walk through your home and feel the energy of your new reality. You must sit at your table and feel the richness of the life you have claimed. And if no one else sees it, that's all right. You see it. And that is enough. Because this is not about convincing others. This is not about getting approval. This is not about proving anything to anyone. This is about the sacred contract between you and the divine within you. The secret pact that says, as I imagine it, so it shall be. This is the power you've had all along. Not in the world, but in the word. Not in the evidence, but in the experience of the inner realm. So go now, not in haste, but in peace. Not in desperation, but in certainty. The world may still look unchanged, but you have changed. And because you have changed, the world must follow. It has no choice. It is bound to reflect you. And the you that walks forward now is different. No longer asking, when, but declaring now. No longer hoping but knowing. No longer reacting but creating. You are no longer a seeker. You are a knower. And because you know, it must show. The universe is not distant. It is not reluctant. It is not undecided. It is poised. It is present. It is listening. And it is responding right now, in this very moment, to the new assumption you hold. Hold it gently. Hold it joyfully. Hold it with reverence, for it is sacred. It is divine. It is the beginning of everything you have ever imagined, now unfolding before your eyes. And so, beloved, rest now in the knowing that it is already done. The universe has heard you, not through pleading, but through your assumption. Not through effort, but through embodiment. You have aligned with the reality your heart has always known to be true. There is nothing more to chase, nothing more to fix. Just be. Be the one who has received. Be the one who walks in fullness. Be the one whose very presence testifies to the unseen becoming seen. Everything has already shifted. Everything has already turned in your favor. The outer signs will follow, for they must. But you walk ahead of them, not behind. You are no longer the echo. You are the origin. You are no longer waiting for the change. You are the change. The universe is not about to deliver. It already has. It's just waiting for you to notice what you've become. Live from that awareness, and all things will be added unto you.